there's one thing about, and you said that Ryan was agreeing to a substantial pay cut and he was entitled to seek work elsewhere, and that's absolutely fine. Nobody has an issue with this. But the problem here is that the deal was underwritten at your request for the 3 years, at your request, by the public purse.
No.
That's the problem here.
Okay.
The deal was underwritten at your request for the 3 years of the contract, and it was paid for by public monies. That's the issue.
I asked for the deal to be underwritten because the relationship with the sponsor is with RTE, it's not with us.
Underwritten by who? RTE?
Yeah.
Yeah, the public purse, yeah.
But it's actually about the sponsorship.
I just want, no, look,
in relation to, this was a commercial.
to be underwritten by RTE, and that could only mean that RTE take the hit for it and they pony up. I just want to move on because time is of the essence. You refer to page 25 in the packets, page 6 in your statement. There was an email from the commercial director for the 2x3 invoices for 75, and was should be raised, and there was an instruction not to put any person's name on it. And you said there was no secret about this deal, but you agreed to not putting a name on that. I mean, I presume you'll agree that there was no consultancy fees, that there was no consultancy done for 75,000 for yourself.
No, what we did was act on, at all times, instructions from RTE. And as I've said, RTE is a 100-year-old organisation with auditors, accountants.
But you're also a businessman, you're a negotiator.
We trust the process. Why would you not trust the process?
You're a businessman, you're a negotiator, you look after your clients. That's your job. That's your job. There's no issue with that whatsoever. But you'd imagine when you were instructed not to put names on the invoices, and we're not talking about €2.99 or €3.50, €3.50. We're talking about invoices for 75,000, and you knowing that you had asked them to underwrite the agreement. So you had asked them that they underwrite. They confirmed that they were underwriting the agreement. They were putting it through the barter account. You were told not to put a name on it. You knew exactly what it was for, and you didn't flag that up. You went along with it. And yet you say there was nothing secret about the deal.
There was nothing secret. We simply acted under instructions from RTE. Yeah.
But you knew they were underwriting the deal, and you knew that was the 75,000 payment that was due to Mr. Tubridy. But you didn't put any.
We simply acted under instructions from RTE.
So that's,
there's one issue, Mr. Tubridy, you might clarify for me. The issue of the 75,000 payments, obviously the invoices for that was what brought this to light in March when the auditors found them. And when I first heard about this, and I wanted to ask you this morning, just to set the scene for this meeting, that that 75,000 shortfall gap that had to be made up, call it what you like, additional payment, the country was shut down. Yes. Thousands of my constituents and people around the country were on €200 or €300 a week pandemic payment. And you and your agent, you know, between you, did you have any doubts about the merits of that or the credibility of looking, you know, to make up that 75,000 at that particular point?
I think what I'm going to be saying a lot today,
which is in relation to that.
In relation to that is that my agent and friend Noel Kelly, it's his job to get the best deal as he sees it for his client and clients.
On your instructions, Mr. Tubridy.
Well, you could say that, yeah,
yes,
of course.
I mean,
he would absolutely try and get what he considers to be the best deal.
Did you have any doubts in those discussions that you had between you back in the earlier part of 2020
I think it would be fair to say
about the merits of it.
In terms of the financial implications of the commercial side of RTE, that it probably felt it wasn't problematic in that sense.
That's not what I'm asking you. Did you have doubts about the public optics of this and the possible reputational damage of looking for that 75,000 in those circumstances, yes or no? And did you discuss that, the merits of that? That's all I want to know.
I would say that I would always have doubts about doing too much.
And did you discuss that with your agent?
Do we have a conversation about that? That's unlikely. No.
So you had no you're telling me here this morning that you had no conversation with NK Communications regarding the matter of looking for this gap of 75,000?
No, we wouldn't. We would be inclined to just, to be honest with you, Keir, like, I say to Noel, I say, you do your job and I do mine, and that's how it works.
But you knew that this gap had to be made up, and this 75,000 had to be magicked up somewhere or another, for want of a better term.
I trust in the process.
Yes. But so you've clarified that you have no doubts about the merits, the credibility, or the possible reputational damage. That wasn't discussed.
That was not discussed.
Okay, thank you.